declaration's been out for a few weeks at this point, and I'm still seeing a lot of confusion around when best to use Step Behind the Boss.
Well, you know what? Despite that disaster, tanks kill the boss.
Welcome everybody to MogTalk. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it is a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. And today I wanted to do a show just because it's been kind of personal to me, because I've been thinking about the state of the game and how things are now that we've had about a year into this expansion, I guess. That sounds right. Yeah, about a year now.
11 months.
Yeah.
About 11 months, yeah.
Okay. And so I wanted to go ahead and just start talking about how we all feel right now, how the game's going, and just things that are on our mind. So I got a couple different perspectives here, some amazing people. Of course, you guys probably know Mr. Happy from previous shows and his own shit that he does, all that great stuff. So first, Mr. Happy, just introduce yourself, just in case.
Hi, I'm Mr. Happy. I make shit according to Frosty.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's correct. All right. Mr. Happy runs State of the Realm, a wonderful podcast that's been around. It's about the same time in length as MogTalk, but has more episodes, a little bit more consistency to it.
I'm the last month, but I've got good excuses, all right?
You have very good excuses. As well as one of the most established full-time Final Fantasy XIV streamers in the community. That is Mr. Happy. I fixed it for you. There you go. All right, Fruity, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Fruity Snacks, and I guess if we go with the same way of describing it, I make fishing shit.
Okay.
I'm the guy who makes a ton of fishing guides. I'm a fisher main, which some people still think is crazy, and they might be right. But that's me, and if it's related to fishing, I probably know about it at least.
Okay. Well, I'm a podcast main. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know if I could say I'm anything else main in this game right now.
Wielding a mic in your main hand there?
Yeah. My main hand is, I'm dual wielding mics. Yeah.
I didn't consent to that.
Well, all right. I'm not going to lead into the jokes. Never mind. We're fine. We're good. We're going to move forward here before it gets really weird and awkward. Guys, it's been a bit. Again, since the expansion came out, there's been lots of criticism, lots of positive and negative criticism towards this expansion and kind of where the game is right now. Before we get into it, I want everyone to kind of understand your perspectives a little bit better about where you're coming from when we're talking about the game. And, Fruity, yours is a little bit more unique, I think, compared to a lot of other people. So I'd like you to go ahead and just tell everybody what you've been doing in the game and kind of what your main focus is with Final Fantasy XIV.
For the past month, I have been selling my soul to the Loporrits to build a moon base.
Okay.
That's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much been it. That came out, and I was like, yeah, that'll take 2 weeks of coverage, and then I'm done. And I probably have like another 2 months worth of work to do. No, but beyond that, I really has been, I hate to say it, mostly just getting fishing content, fishing guides out. I've been, jumping into the new content whenever it comes out with like the basic raids. Haven't been doing Savage yet, but getting an M4S clear is on my list of things to do in the next few months, so I can go and start Fruit Prog. That's my goal. That was my goal for this year, is to at least start.
At least start. Okay.
Start it. Okay.
At least start it and get a good enough way through it.
Okay. And I mean, to be fair, your perspective isn't really that abnormal. There's a lot of people who approach this game outside of raiding, outside of everything else, and they have their own kind of niche that they jump into. And that's you, Fruity.
Yeah, and it's not that I haven't raided before. I did all of Eden back in Shadowbringers and then was like, cool, I did a tier, I'm done. And that was it. And just did the entirety of Eden all. And E8S is still one of my favorite fights. But yeah, no, I mean that's
good.
That's about where I'm at right now.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Happy, can you tell everybody your current state with Final Fantasy XIV?
Well, for my background, I've mostly just been doing everything that comes out. Everything in all of Dawn Trail that released. I have all my cosmic tools. I'm ready for Occult Crescent come Tuesday. I did Fru, I did Savage, week 1, both of them chaotic, day 1. I've been doing the same old I've been doing for the past 10 years. Hell, I even caught my first big fish in the last month or so.
So proud of you.
So yeah,
Is
I
that like
caught
a
12
good
big fish in
sign?
like an hour and a half.
Is that a good sign or a bad
No,
sign of state?
I was forced into it by Sophie. I would have never done it if she hadn't made me do it. But
Okay,
you know, and then I mercilessly destroyed her in our competition. So, you
good
know,
job.
I had
Really
to
enjoyed
remind
that
everyone that I
rivalry.
was a world-class troller. So I know my way around a fishing rod.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ever doubted that in any shape or form ever about your achievement, especially the title at least. So I'll let you guys know my perspective. I have been doing the world race, and I have been doing daily logins, trying to get some tomestones, but not even capping that out every week. I haven't even touched the Savage raid recently. I haven't touched the Ultimate one. I stopped full-time streaming Final Fantasy XIV in September and have been just really, I feel like, disassociating or just like separating a bit from the game and its content right now. So I'm at a really weird burnout spot. And again, I do podcasts probably more than I do playing the game at this point. It just is what it is. I've done some hosting, did some PvP hosting recently with Square Enix, with their Crystalline Conflict Community Cup C4. They don't call it C4, but that's what it is.
See, what is that? That's not. It's squared, cubed. What would it be to the 4th power? I feel like there's got to be shorthand for that.
To the 4th power.
That's lame. We need more.
Yeah.
After 3, it just doesn't become worth the effort.
Well, anyways, so I'm here, just wanting to make sure we have proper perspectives on it, from everybody to know how we're feeling with the game, right now, and we have lots of different topics to hit. I mean, one of the most recent ones, like you were talking about, Fruity, is the moon base stuff that we're doing with all the crafting and gathering. And Happy, you've done that a bit, I'm assuming, too.
I have every cosmic tool. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but you do it for like to do it and to check it off a list, don't you?
Yeah, I have another 490,000 crafting and gathering points for all 11 crafters to do, pretty much.
There
So
it
I got
is.
a pretty big checklist ahead of me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How do you guys feel about that content? Because that was some of the biggest content recently outside of like any kind of rating, right? Was it implemented like it should have been? Is our crafters and gatherers happy with the game?
If I could jump in on that, I would say that
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere. Not that like, oh, we didn't know it was coming. Like we obviously knew Cosmic Exploration was coming since what EU Fan Fest, I think it
Mm-hmm.
was. Like they were announcing it, or maybe it was
Yeah.
JP. I don't think it was NA.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And but everyone was like, it's like, oh yeah, it just Diadem again, and it's just the Ishgard Restoration again. And we're like, okay, yeah, it's 2 weeks of you just do a bunch of things over and over again. You're not moving. And then they were like, well, there's missions, and now there's leveling, and they were kind of quiet about it. Even during the live letters, they were showing off some of it, but not all of it. And so no one really came into it with any concrete idea of what it was going to be. And then suddenly it's like, we're still progressing through it. Like that's kind of the thing. It's like I think Cactar just in the past couple of hours hit the mission that will unlock the final zone that you get in the thing. Like, and it's still been going for like a month. Um, so I think it kind of just came out of right field and was just caught everybody off guard with it. And I think that was a good thing. I think it was just different enough and just I don't know what the word would be. It's just different enough. I think that's probably the word. I cannot Give me the flashcards that we had earlier. There.
Sorry,
the
we passed them off
vocabulary
to
words.
you. Just to make sure, is right field different than left field, or is it just a, you know?
Depends on the stadium, I guess.
All right, fair.
It's whether you're in Australia or not.
Okay, yeah. Australian joke done. Check mark. Let's go. So,
but
I have more Australian jokes than people who play on OCE. It's fine.
oh, okay.
But it's definitely really unique. Outside of the fact that it's basically a leave system, but better. Like that's kind of my take on it. It's like it's basically leaves, except if leaves were, done better, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's leaves, but someone's holding a gun to your head, being like, "Hurry up, hurry up!"
It. No, don't do that. Do it this way.
I mean, is it enjoyable content?
I mean, I find it enjoyable, but I definitely have changed my thoughts on how enjoyable it is the farther I have gotten away from launch and the more I've had to do it over and over and over again. Of like, I'm not even at 500k yet on Fisher, partially because I've just been busy. I haven't been able to get it. I'm at 450. But on the other hand, it's also like, I don't want to necessarily do this mission for the 30th time. Just to get points. Like if I'm doing it to write a guide, get data, do like help determine strategy for it, like that's fine. But it's like if I just want to go and get points, I'm like, I don't really feel like doing it again. Which what we don't know is of the 500k that we have to get on, Disciple of Hand and Disciple of Land jobs, is that going to be just for the current planet, or is that going to be shared across all of it? And right now it's assumed that it's shared across all of it. So you aren't expected to even go close to getting to 500k, yet people are doing it anyways.
Yeah, they sure are.
Oh, yes. Which I'm sure that's going to come back and bite us down the road, I think.
Yeah, I have my own thoughts about how to approach that, and it involves waiting a few patches.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing that most people were definitely caught off guard on with Cosmic Exploration was the fact that some of those like Class A missions, like the highest tier missions, actually require thought. It wasn't like old Diadem where you could go and be like, just botanists and miners would just go around the islands in a circle and just do laps for 3 hours, leave, come back and do it again. Crafters couldn't necessarily just use macros. Fishers just didn't target one specific fish for 3 hours on end. One of the things that we were seeing early on, at least in like the Fisher and even like botanist and miner, they were like, these are like way too hard of missions. And when you dug into it, it was like people didn't know what certain skills did to make those missions easier. And so it's really forced people to actually learn how to craft without macros and how to like learn what their botany and mining skills do and figure out how Fisher actually works for the first time. Is one of those things, which I think is a really good thing. And I think that that's something that I would love to see applied outside of Cosmic Exploration a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually show you some real gameplay of gathering.
Okay.
On the moon. I'm gonna show you it. All right, here.
How
look.
are you gonna? Oh, okay.
Wait.
Big finish.
All right, now I can do the next one. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Biggest thing is too is like you just have no GP to get anything done.
Yeah. You're just chugging cordials the entire time, and you're like, Keo, can you give me some carrot juice at the base or something, please? Can we build a bar that serves cordials of happiness?
You like cordial, like IVs following you around on this, but like it's like that is like if I have like one complaint, like that is my biggest complaint about Cosmic is the GP regen is definitely slow. I don't think we need to have what some people are suggesting, which is like you just get like a 100% refresh at the start of a mission or at the end of a mission. I don't think we need to go that far, but it's like the last time we got a cordial was like Heaven's Ward. It only gives 400 GP, which for Botanist, Miner, and Fisher right now is less than half of the usual GP pool. So it's like not even giving us a good chunk of the way back when it first came out, when it was like 2/3 of your bar. So like that would be something that I would love to see more of.
The only cordials you get in the moon are the Realm Reborn cordial.
And they're like the worst one to use as well.
Yeah.
Because they're just like normal high quality cordials, and they're subpar compared to high cordials.
Yep. It's not great.
Okay. But I mean, like, I
Yeah.
guess in terms of just like the game and content, maybe it made crafting and gathering better in the game somehow. It is a boost in some form or fashion. Does it get people who don't like crafting and gathering? Does it make the people who do craft and gather a good bit fairly content with the content?
I think
I don't know about you, but I'm willing to bet day one they all checked it out. I think now the only people that are left are people that either A, are really achievement driven, or B, actually like crafting and gathering to begin with.
I think yeah, I'd probably actually agree with that right now. It definitely felt like a lot of folks, maybe it wasn't the first day, but definitely within the first like week, most people came in, they got to Class A. Like you can, if you're level 100, you could pretty easily get to Class A just by brute forcing your way through these missions. But if you just started to try and do Class A's and you didn't want to devote a lot of time to it, you're just like, cool, I'll see you when Occult Crescent comes out. and kind of just end it there if you weren't relic driven or achievement driven, or like the people who are grinding all 500,000 points right now. It's definitely one of those. I feel like it'll probably pick up after Occult Crescent dies down, before like patch 7.3, when people don't really want to do Occult Crescent anymore, but they need something to do to justify the subscription. So they might go back onto the moon, because everything should be built by then, and that might be it. But I don't, outside of people who do that or are leveling, I don't really see a ton of people there anymore. I mean, on Marlboro, which isn't a huge server, right now, when I looked at it like an hour ago, there was at most 30 people like on the moon.
Okay.
Which usually within the first couple of weeks, that would be like one instance. Now there's one instance worth in just all over.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say functionally they hit a lot of good points, but there's a couple of things that they missed to get people to stay in there longer. I think the value of the items that you can get in there dropped so drastically because they weren't nearly as rare as everyone was thinking maybe they would be. And people would definitely be more driven to be in there for longer periods of time if it wasn't like there's just any sort of value locked behind the things that were in there. And that's not too dissimilar. Diadem had the same thing. Like once people started getting the fortunes and Diadem, it really died down as well, minus the people who were either leveling or competing.
Never
and
again.
I think it's and that's the thing. I feel like maybe they went a little too far in the opposite direction, because now the competition isn't a part of it at all, because you just have the every other day tally, and nobody really cares about the every other day tally when it's not really worth doing in any capacity. And it's like a byproduct. People are getting it as a byproduct of farming 500,000 points effectively. Like they're just like, well, I'm already farming for that. I'll play for 14 hours today, and then they'll get it, even though they only played a little bit more than half the day. So it really ends up going in that direction. But yeah, I think the loot isn't valuable enough. I think also the 500,000 point achievement being a reskin of the loot probably hurt some people's immediate interest in the achievement hunting aspect. I also think the mech ops aren't balanced well enough around the idea of somebody stopping leave quests to go do them.
I don't
you're the person
go after those anymore.
No, I don't either.
They're just too much of a time sink, and I don't really feel like I get as much of a reward out of it.
Yeah,
because boost.
I almost wish I got more of the Cosmo credits, like lunar credit to Cosmo credit exchange, because like I'm trying to build up materia. If you told me I was gonna get like I could do 1,000 lunar credits, and if I went over there and I was in the mech, I would get like 2,000 Cosmo credits, I would go over there in a heartbeat. That's two materia. That's two materia quickly for popping over and being a pilot.
Mm.
And crafting gathering materia is A, something we want to hoard right now, and B, something that is generally valuable long term. Even in subsequent expansions, people will hop down to the lower tier to fill out melds. So, like Island Sanctuary became the main way of getting them for the previous expansion at some point. So this
And
being
cordials.
more, yeah, and cordials. Yeah, you're still better off getting cordials there than
Cordials.
here.
How is
Yeah.
Island Sanctuary do?
For people who want cordials, great.
Yeah?
It exists.
Okay.
Yeah. You just fully automate it and then you just collect the calories and move on with your life now at this point. So
the one thing I think Cosmic Exploration did well was with its mission design, it really did try and encourage you to learn how to do things specifically. Like with the crafts, you have some that are like really small quality, but like massive amounts of craftsmanship that you would need to get it, like huge amounts of progress that you would have
I
to make.
love groundwork.
Yeah, basically. And it was like that, and Botanist and Miner had ones with like the Gatherer's Boon, and I know Fisher has like literally everything to cover what you would need to know how to actually play your class. I think it did that really well. I think it actually was like, as somebody who is in an educational field, I looked at this and go, this is a great tool for learning how to play. But I don't think players were motivated enough to want to learn how to play. Like they don't want to come to like the moon and be like, okay, I'm going to do a mission. I got to learn how to do it. I don't know if people were like, yeah, I want to get educated. It was more of like, hey, I just want to get in and get done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raphael's been busy.
Yeah. Really putting good work on Raphael. But I think also a point to what you were saying, Happy, about the reskin for 500k. I've heard some folks were suggesting that it was a reskin because they didn't want people to immediately grind, which, let's be honest, that was going to happen anyways. So they were just like, we'll just make it a reskin, and so you have less incentive to immediately grind it out. And they didn't want to make another Pterodon mount because people you'd spend 6 months working on that. But I'm kind of hoping that as we get the last 3 planets for Cosmic Exploration, because there's 3 more stops we got, we start seeing a little bit more variety, a little bit more increases in those rewards, and maybe some more alterations to the, like, if you get all gold missions or if you get all the 500k, maybe there is some alteration to the rewards for that as well. I'm kind of holding
making
out
1 million, 1.5, and 2. They're just going to add another 500,000 onto each, and then be like, and then everybody like, oh, I could just wait, and I'm like, oh no, why did I wait?
I'm kind of hoping for that, but
I know a lot of people who are actually, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is like a unique, like, mini big achievement, if that makes sense, like for like each planet. So like on Sinus Ardorum, you get a 500k and everything, it's the mech. If you get all golds on the next planet, it's something else. If you do something else on the third, and like they just have that variety there. And then if you get all 4 of those, then you get the big one. Which low key, I have been joking that you're going to get a reskin of the mech on every planet, and then if you get all of them, including the mount from the
G Warrior,
they just combine in like to like Voltron. Is what I was imagining, is that you get a green one, next one, and then a red one, and then a blue one.
Yeah,
that's always possible. Yeah, there's a makings of some good stuff. Someone who doesn't craft or gather, I did go out of my way to learn the actual crafting buttons and what they did. So like I leveled most of my crafters here from 90 to 100. And I did every time. So what most people do is they go to a website called Raphael, where you put in your stats and put the item you want, and it gives you, at best to its ability, how to get HQ and finish the craft. successfully. But when you're leveling, every level your stats change. Every level, the level of the recipe moves up. So it's too much of a pain.
You have to update it every level.
Yeah, so I was like, why don't I just figure out how to do it? So I can, like, as I level, I know like what the cadence I need. So that way I actually stopped using Raphael at all after I did one single crafter. Because now I know, okay, well that's a low, because then they're also the same recipes throughout most of them. So it's like you just recognize the durability, the quality, you go, okay, I know how to do that one. Or I know which macro that one is. So it's like it was good at getting me to do that as someone who spent 11 years, like literally until this content, my bars were just all red X's for like the past however many years from all the deleted skills. That's it. Even on my gatherers, I mean, it's still on my gatherers to some capacity because I don't need half those skills in my opinion, but it's yeah. The only one that was kind of free was my fishing, and that was because I did it for ocean fishing. So I actually had hotbars for that.
Yeah.
And I also did fishing day one. I did fishing first, which was a horrible idea for me as someone who doesn't generally fish.
I applaud your bravery in doing that.
I learned about a lot of things that day.
Yeah, no, the fishing one has been interesting to look at because a lot of people are like, fishing's too RNG heavy. I don't like. How can I get 18 of these fish within the time limit? That doesn't make sense.
Because the game's like, oh, you can't triple hook for everything, but oh, guess I'm allowed to triple hook for this. What?
But it's certain ones, and so it's like, from somebody who is like a fisher main, I'm looking at these missions like, oh, there is going to be something there. I know what I have to do to figure that out. Like that makes sense. But this is the first time that outside of whenever like new big fish are added, it's the first time that like the entire community has been subjected to what we would call a discovery period in the fishing community of trying to figure everything out. And the game didn't make some of that as clear, like didn't make that process as clear as I think it could have been for a wider community. So there was a lot of time that, like, I would be like just standing in an instance answering questions for people as I was figuring them out, or like the Discord was just like blowing up with people saying this is too hard, it's like overthink. I was like, have you pressed this one button to tell you everything you need to know?
Ambitious lure. Have you tried slapping fish A? Have you?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the learning how your buttons work, botanist, miner, all the crafters, that was pretty much what people were doing for that. When it came to Fisher, it was like literally people going, okay, I'm going to learn how my buttons work and how Fisher works, because a lot of people just leveled fishing through ocean fishing, and you don't have to engage as much with the mechanics on ocean fishing. And these missions were like, you really needed to know how to use ambitious lure. You had to know how triple hook worked, GP management, like fish sizes, which is something that we like. This is the first expansion when
it gets conflated with triple. Yeah, the exclamations do not necessarily represent jaw size of the fish or anything like that. Yeah, that's weird to me.
Yeah, it's for, I think for Fisher, like it gets singled out as like these A rank missions are complete bullshit, but it's also like the perfect example of you need to know your skills to be able to pull those off.
Okay.
Yeah, fishing pissed me off.
Sounds like they did a good job then. You know, honestly, from how you're describing it, they actually put some thought into, hey, this is how Fisher is built, and these are the challenges that would be actual challenges for Fisher, right? It wasn't just slap in something and just run with it.
That's a good pun. I like that one.
Yeah.
The one thing,
unintentional.
The one thing I would say is, despite all of the controversy and criticisms and positive things that Dawn Trail has had, since day one, this has been the best fishing expansion. Just because like the kit came out and we were like, these are great skills, and like the big fish have been genuinely interesting, and then Cosmic Exploration came out and it was like, this is the best time to be a fisher main. All like 12 of us are having a great party over in the corner.
Hey,
Yeah, I
man.
learned about the whole like using ambitious or meticulous just to get that like new notification that like the fish zips by, and I was just like, what the hell? There's a whole nother
Yeah.
condition that's
There's
present in
two.
these ones.
There's
Yeah,
two other ones that you could be getting. But yeah,
yeah.
no, like those are that's a new Dawn Trail thing, like a new hidden fish expand. Like hidden fish is a new mechanic, and they were like, hey, we're gonna have a few of those in Cosmic, and that caught a lot of
Yeah.
people off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, we've done our fishing part, I think, for the show. Fruity, you can stay around, but we're you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll see you.
Talking about Cosmic though, you know, just because we're done with the fish. I mean, honestly, the only thing I even
Yeah.
have to add about Cosmic is I'm just gonna wait till we have 4 zones worth of red alerts and then track the red alerts, go between every red alert, and that's how I'm gonna do my point.
No.
And honestly, that's not a bad. That wouldn't be a bad way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll sit. I haven't even touched the content. You guys have given me the most exposure to this content thus far. And even if I was playing 8 hours a day, I don't know if I would, just because it's not the kind. I'm not an achievement chaser. I'm a fun chaser.
I will say, from somebody who has spent 8 hours in a row in cosmic exploration, do not spend 8 hours in a row in cosmic exploration right now. Please
I
maintain your
agree.
sanity.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it was actually decent content overall. And there's the crafting and gathering is always kind of I think I would say in kind of a weird spot with Final Fantasy XIV because it's the only MMO that actually takes that kind of stuff seriously for the most part. I don't, maybe I'm
No, that's right.
all right.
No, you're
A lot
correct.
of other MMOs out there are kind of like left click, right click, you're done, and just build your stuff, right? There's nothing too
Do
crazy
you have
about it.
materials?
Yeah,
Basically, is how crafting is done in most things.
yeah,
Rarely, unheard of to have a hot bar for crafting.
right, right. And so it's good to know that they're actually still pushing on that. And so we could say for the crafting gathering side, this expansion's going pretty well with this content and pushing forward with it. So there,
It's good to have
yeah.
something crafting and gathering related after, because Shadowbringers was distinctly missing it because Island Sanctuary was
Yeah.
very, you don't need to be a crafter or gatherer. So,
And
well,
Walker
because
not
like
Shadowbringers.
Ishgard has a lot of the same problems that we could say here, but it comes down to the fact that it's narrowed down to craft and gathering. But
Mhm.
it not
Yeah.
being there at all is really noticeable, and people do like to see that sense of progression and server antics. And even if they don't plan on sticking with it long term, a lot of people are usually pretty pleased popping in on something day one and like seeing the shout chat memes and shouting about batteries. Like, why are these things losing their charge so fast?
Hey, we even had raid plans for those.
Oh,
Yeah, there were raid plans
There was
for it.
raid
Yeah, I
plans.
remember that.
Someone on Materia made a bunch of them.
jeez.
I would end on my comments at least by saying, compared to Ishgard and the Diadem, this is like the Diadem is like child's play now compared to
Yeah.
what they've added with Cosmic. Like they clearly were like, how can we take this idea and iterate on it and make it something that isn't just something to do. It's more a little bit more than that, and I think they've achieved that very well with
Okay.
Yeah.
Cosmic. So
Yeah.
there's a ton of potential, and so I am looking forward to
Mhm.
the future planets and seeing what they do.
Yeah, I'll be logging in on server up for every planet like I did this one.
I mean, you do
Yeah.
that for any content patch.
I don't do that
Release.
for anything crafting or gathering related. Frosty, that is incorrect.
Okay. Okay. Well, that all being said, I mean, the other aspect of the game, some people don't ever touch crafting and gathering, or that they do very minimal amount like me. But they get into other parts like raiding and doing the battle content, I think is the best way to say it. The battle content within the game. And I went through the first tier, very hardcore party finder, just went insane with it for quite a bit. And I feel like this expansion has done pretty well for battle content in general. A lot of people seem to be content with it. Happy. What are your feelings with the content?
Dawn Trail's been a slew of fantastic battle content. I feel like most gripes are minor. The last boss of M4 having too low of a health pool.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, I'm not gonna like. Oh no, I didn't get to dodge slashes on the ground. Like, I'm not gonna care about that. No, we've had a lot more creativity, a lot more memorable memes. I mean, no shortage of small rams ruining everyone's lives over the past, 2 months that we've had the latest raid out. Chaotic was a nice big surprise that a lot of people really enjoyed and had a decent clear rate to boot. Fru was a good middle ground ultimate for people who did not want DSR or top, but also, wanted a new ultimate as a whole. So it's been a lot of very good combat direction combined with solid fight themes that have just been fun the whole way through. They don't usually like impress to the point where it's like, oh my god, this is one of the best things ever, or like, but it's also rarely one of the worst things ever. So if you're just looking for like a good experience through and through, it just kind of holds steady. And honestly, after the roller coaster that was Endwalker, which had a ton of combat content, like people like to joke about, content in Endwalker, but I mean, if you break it down, Endwalker was insane. It's just that it drove the players insane too.
I mean, that's a fair statement.
Yeah, like look at Endwalker. Asphodelos was fine. I know some people complain about Bird, but Bird was fine. Then you had Abyssos.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was a time. I was happy with Abyssos, but
no, you weren't.
I thought it was.
And joke aside, no, you weren't.
Okay.
I could have easily gone for it, but I was so offended by the statement alone that I couldn't even.
There were things I liked about it. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough for me to enjoy it as rating and do a ton of it, and I did a ton of it. I do think the tier afterwards was better,
and the one before it.
I mean, okay, fair. But it wasn't like the worst.
And both of the ultimates before and after. Because gotta remember, we called the I'm quitting this game the burnout sandwich of DSR, Abyssos, top. That's the burnout. I need to stop playing Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker like hoagie. And then there's like a slice of Criterion tomato in there as well. Sticking in between. There's a deep dungeon that didn't really have the same mark as the previous two. I like
that deep dungeon.
Well. I'm okay with Orthos, but in terms of its impact on the deep dungeon community, it was by and far the least popular of the three.
Okay, yeah. Sure. So, it's the only one I've completed, but that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, it's just that the early floors are like... It's funny how it's 100 floors less, but I think I'd rather do the first 50 floors of Palace of the Dead again than do the first 30 floors of Orthos.
Okay.
It's really boring.
Fair.
You mentioned Criterion, and I'm like, of all the battle content, that was the one that I actually did a lot of, and I actually really liked the Criterion dungeons and like the variant dungeons. Like, I thought it was a really cool concept that I wanted to see more done with. By the time we got to the last one, I was just kind of like, it's kind of the same thing.
The boss design was literally an expansion ahead. So much so that Criterion mechanics are popping up now, and everyone's like, huh, that's new and interesting. And I'm like,
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, Criterion, it was really good content. But they missed the mark on Savage. Or
Savage doesn't need to exist.
It doesn't need to be in the game at all. I mean, it's like just this extra bonus thing that they were like, okay, let's throw us something that's in Savage and just add one line of code for a condition and be done. And that was it. If you die,
they also gave them 10% more health and took away some AoE markers.
2 lines of code. Okay. Maybe 3.
2 lines of code and 3 art files.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. And but they don't have to do that much, but there should be something in there that makes it feel like, hey, this is an extension of the content and not just a weird achievement flag thing that we turn on.
I think they need to abandon Variant and Criterion as a whole.
The entire content, the four player dungeon. Okay.
No. Specifically, the way they're doing it. So, Variant, Criterion, Savage. Criterion Savage not having even the bonus boss upsets me beyond all measure. True. Not having the secret boss from the 12 paths of the Variant. I don't think you could have upset me more by making sure that was. Oh, hi, Sausage. I think Sausage is just barely out of frames.
Okay.
Variant stops being interesting about 3 runs into the 12 runs that you're supposed to do, and has no replayability. So I don't think it's worth the effort.
It's a
Criterion's
normal
cool.
mode dungeon. I mean, it's just expanded dungeon, right? It's not like it's supposed to
Not
be
even.
difficult or anything. Okay.
But it's like, it's so boring doing all 12. It's just like, just fight the same mid-boss like 4 times, and then the last boss is one thing different. Oh.
I think the thing with the variant dungeon that made it interesting to me was just going in blind to find all the paths and not actually looking up a guide. But in this day and world, in this, in this
That
kind of
works.
day and
in this
age, you know,
day
whatever.
and age,
Yeah, it's
thank
fine.
you. In this day and an age in a world, most people are just going to look up a guide anyways, and I think that definitely would detract from it a bit. But if I went into it blind for like a day and just trying to find all the things, and I had a blast. But also to your point, I only did it for a day. I didn't want to go back and do it again for a few more to get it
Yeah.
all.
And then, okay, Criterion right now is based off the variant. I honestly just want them to do Criterion versions of existing dungeons and just pump those up. Don't even make a whole new dungeon. Just like rotate Criterion every patch. Give it some sort of like give it a decent reward structure and call it. Honestly, you can make it like Unreal.
That's exactly
Or
what
maybe give it.
Yeah, I would say Unreal for dungeons would be really. That would be fun. I'd have a ton of fun with that.
Yeah.
And then you can also get
rewards,
patch relevant upgrade mats, and then also give it a fucking mini game. I don't care. Like Unreal has gotten me to do it like almost every week since it released, and I don't plan on changing that. If they made a Criterion dungeon that worked that same way, that was like way harder, but it was like about an extreme level difficulty, same difficulty. Not even maybe that as hard as the old Criterion. I don't care. Whatever they do, I just don't think it's this whole extra system where they have to develop out a whole new dungeon with a whole different system that can't be in the roulettes, that nobody goes back to do after it's done, that it's too much. It's too much to go through just to get the Criterion, which is like the actual content. I'd rather they just go back to doing a second dungeon in a patch than do all that.
We're still missing one from Shadowbringers. I will never forgive Yoshi P for that.
Okay, that's fair. I do like the concept of variant being this nice little story puzzle to work out. Right, I do think that there's value in that. But I get also your point about Criterion and Savage just being kind of like Criterion's really cool, but they could do the same thing with previous dungeons, and it'd be easier to do. And just get rid of the Savage part completely, or make it part of what actually Criterion is, and just say screw it. It's just a one-shot thing, no matter what. But
I mean, no, I don't even think. I'd rather they actually do something more fun with the boss. But no, all I'm saying is that if they're just going to keep variant Criterion in its own separate finder, like locked away from everything, and like there's no replay. Like if you're going to put so many resources into something, Final Fantasy XIV's key like design principle used to be that like if they put something in the game, it would be accessible, right, as time went on. And I'd say variant's probably done that the worst. I think Delubrum normal and variant are like the same level of it's impossible to get people to go back and do it. Like it's just
there's discords.
It's pulling teeth. There's discords. Variant, fortunately, you can solo, but then when you're done with it, you'll never go back to it. So it's like if there was like some sort of roulette where like it would take you down a random path and you didn't get to decide, and like even that would be better, because people will log in for roulettes every day, and the variant's getting used. Just so much work to create something that you have built systems around it that just make it not something people want to do past, like 4 or 5 hours.
I mean, what if they made your dungeon for the patch, and then they just gave you a Savage version of your dungeon and just got rid of Criterion, and that was the replacement for it?
Then at that point, then you do have to figure out what are they doing with the resources to make a whole nother variant dungeon. Are they doing another exploration zone? Are they doing a field op? Or
we don't have to worry about their resources.
I am worried about that, because you can't just take something away. Like here's the thing: if I get my Criterion,
in the Savage version of a normal dungeon, right?
That's not gonna listen. Dungeon players are not gonna be content with that, man. Dungeon players do not just want a lot of dungeon players. Yeah, dungeon players.
There's dungeon players?
Oh yeah, man, there's dungeon players.
isn't it just something you just do every once in a while? You're like, I gotta cap my tomes. I do it. It's not like a focus.
Yeah,
of
have you
content?
not heard people who complain, oh, expert roulette's only 2 dungeons? They hate it because every day they're going to log in and do expert, and that's their dungeon content.
But that's not like the focus of their content. It's just log in.
Yes,
and
it
I
is.
do
It's
it.
all they log in and do is their roulettes, and so they want more dungeons in their roulettes, and they want more dungeons and more. This has been a discussion happening since they started reducing the dungeon counts, like years and years and years. Before we got to 1 dungeon, even when we were like 2-1, 2-1, and 2-2-2. People have been talking about this for ages. People
are they
take those
doing it
dungeon
because
releases.
Shadowbringers, too. That's
they-
been at least 4 years.
Are they doing it because they want to do the dungeon, or are they doing it
They
because
like
it's
dungeons.
required to do it?
They like doing dungeons. No, they literally look forward to doing dungeons every day.
Okay, all right. I'll.
And there are some people who honestly just like having another, like they like the principle of like the hard modes where it was like, oh, we've been through there before, but what has happened since then? You know, like lore wise, how has that progressed after we did X, Y, and Z?
And that's, if we're talking about resources, that's where your narrative resources go. Is what's the next story of the crap? I can't even remember the name of the dungeon now. But like, what would be the next story? I would love that. As somebody who doesn't really devote a ton of time to Savage, if they brought back hard versions that were actually somewhat challenging, and were just a narrative next step of, hey, what happened after you went through and cleared out the well in Shadowbringers. I'd love to know that.
Coupling story and difficulty is one of the things
that's how we got Binding Coil.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's not in the game anymore, right? You get little pieces here and there, but
yeah, but hard mode's not actually hard, Frosty. That's the thing. Hard mode was like the biggest misnomer name of like anything we've ever had.
If you were like super efficiently doing those dungeons and people weren't trying to do them super efficiently with you, it was hard. You know.
Yeah, they're hard now still when people do that. When people try to go through Strayborough, but they like go 1 pull at a time, or they get crushed by the Ferris wheel or something, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Strayborough is my favorite dungeon in Dawn Trail.
It is my favorite dungeon also. I love watching people fail at it horribly. It's great entertainment.
Yeah.
It's so chaotic. I love it.
I
want more Strayboroughs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they agree. The recent dungeons, I don't feel like they've been very difficult, but they aren't like the very base core level easy that they could be doing. And people mess them up a lot. They still don't move out of AoEs. They still don't do things, and it does make healing a little bit more fun. So I have to press a couple more buttons, but
Tower of Babel, whenever you get it in leveling roulette, is a disaster on the last boss.
Tower of Zot on the
Tower of Zot. Sorry, I meant Zot.
Yeah. Tower of Zot final pull as a tank. That one, if a tank is like, I'm only doing 1 at a time, I'll be like, okay. But I always applaud tanks that can multi-pull on the final stretch of Tower of Zot.
I mean, it takes the healer too, right? I mean, warriors, whatever.
Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah,
we're talking about tanks right now, Frosty.
Okay.
This isn't about you.
That's fine. But I don't know. I feel like, again, they have been doing a pretty good job with content. But Variant and Criterion, they said they were going to have them. Do we have news on?
Yeah, they're making one. That's the news.
Okay, cool.
It's up there with the Gold Saucer remake.
Don't. Don't get me
Next
started.
Next over.
Yeah. Oh God, Chocobo Racing, please. Just something.
Don't worry, you can do Chocobo Racing tracks in the mobile version.
That's another big thing I want to talk about today.
We have to be a little careful because some of the news coming out has been technically leaks because they're currently in closed beta test 2, which has a confidentiality clause.
Okay, I don't know enough to be able to tell the difference between what's leaked and not, so maybe I'll let you kind of run with some of that information. But
anything that's new in the last day or two is technically leaked.
Okay. Well, let's.
I think monetization is among them, and a couple other things.
Okay. Well, let's table that for a second because there is big PvE battle content coming up, and on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
that everybody's kind of looking forward to?
Yep.
Or are
I
we
am.
super excited about that? Or are
Yep.
we like, okay?
Yep.
Because this is what was missing from Endwalker, right? This was
Yep.
the piece of content that everyone's complaining.
Reminder that Endwalker got me to do every relic in the game because I had nothing to do in Endwalker because the Manderville weapons didn't count. And there was no exploration zone. So,
Okay.
yep.
All right. So this piece of content is probably some of the most important content this entire expansion.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify that.
No pressure, Square Enix.
And how that goes, and the life cycle of it, how it goes through the rest of the expansion, everything with it is very vital towards the battle content of this game and keeping people invested, interested, and subscribed. Okay. So I don't know how much there is to really talk about it until we see it, but do you guys have any thoughts on it coming out?
There's a lot.
Okay. We don't have to go like every detail, but tell me your thoughts, Happy.
I think there's okay, so I'll start with actually a fear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again something we already know. There's no predictions or speculation here. We know Occult Crescent is the only zone until 7.5, when they will add a second zone, presumably the North Horn, because Occult Crescent is the current name of the zone on the preview site is Occult Crescent Southern Horn or South Horn.
Okay.
Yes.
So that makes sense because Crescent Island from Final Fantasy V has a South Horn and a North Horn. That's just the shape of the island, so it makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that all of our relic steps that happen in there will be added in there. So in 7.3, we will get an update that sends us back to Occult Crescent. In 7.4, we will get an update that sends us back into Occult Crescent. So what are they going to do to make people okay with that for 3 patches in a row? Now, we know 7.4 has new phantom jobs to level, so there is that. 7.3 doesn't have that because we're getting a deep dungeon and we're getting another cosmic exploration zone. So that's the only major fear that I have, is that we're going to basically be going back.
3 patches is a year.
Yes.
So just...
I thought they were getting new phantom jobs in 7.3 and 7.4.
No, they're skipping 7.3 because of the deep dungeon, and then there's new ones in 7.4 and new ones in 7.5.
Okay. And then the new zone is also in 7.5. Okay. I thought it was in just 7.3.
Yeah.
Or
there's no 7.3 they very specifically said because there's a deep dungeon, we're not doing new phantom jobs. But then we also don't know if there's a Delubrum equivalent in there, something in between. They've made no mention, so I'm assuming not. Feel like they would have brought that up when they brought the timeline up. So it is just a matter of, are we going to be super invested in doing Occult Crescent? Now, of course, they don't expect everyone to level every phantom job all at once. Sound familiar to Cosmic Exploration? So it might be one of those, they designed it under the principle that people have a lot of time to get through the phantom jobs that are in there. And that could be a very considerably length ordeal. I actually don't think that'll be the case. I actually think that it'll be pretty quick to do all the phantom jobs once we know how it works. Other than that, though, I think they know exactly what they're doing, and we're about to have a very fun time.
Okay.
Because we have an exploration zone that has all the Eureka stuff, but fixed. Most of the Bozja stuff, minus duels, which honestly, I'm not surprised. I love duels. Not surprised to see there's not duels here.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Bunnies are back. That was missing from Bozja. And for those who are wondering how we know that, it's in the achievements. The PS5 achievements for patch 7.2 say to receive loot from Happy Bunnies. So I'm happy about that. And the bunnies are happy. So we're both happy.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know you had bunnies named after you.
Yeah, it's crazy how they named them after me. I'm glad, though. They didn't want to put my character in the game, so they just went with that. Yeah, PS5 and Xbox were snitching on the bunnies because they didn't bring them up. They just skipped them all together in the live letter. They never brought up Happy Bunnies. They brought up the magic pots, which we also know are there from the achievements. Those also have their own achievements associated with them. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a time. We have level syncing, which everyone said Eureka needed for 4 zones, and they never added it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a clear distinction between leveling content and the Notorious Monsters this time as well. You're not just going to be training Notorious Monsters to level. They want you forming parties. to get the levels. So that sense of grouping up with people and with the level syncing means like I can just like with Eureka, all I would ever do, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to kill NMs. I don't care what level you are, just come join. Now I can actually like help people and form like parties for them to sink down, or we carry them with all these crazy actions, just massacre mobs while working on our weapons through various steps. I guess the benefit of all of us being in the same zone for 3 relics is we can probably double up on relic steps at some point. So there's a lot of positives that are pretty immediately noticeable. And Fork Tower is a BA equivalent, not a Castrum or Dalriada equivalent.
Okay. And when does that come out again? Is it immediate or
Tuesday?
Tuesday? No. Yeah. The raid is literally
it's in zone. It's not a separate instance. It's in zone like BA is.
Okay.
You have to have people with entry items spawn the portal. And then if you have an entry item, it guarantees you access unless 48 people or above have the access item. And if you don't have the access item, you can still go and try to enter with everyone else. There's just a chance you won't get accepted if there's more than 48 people.
Okay. So we're not tracking this for like race kind of.
You're not. We are.
Oh, okay.
Nobody tracked BA either.
Not really. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of tracking. Yeah.
We know who got world first in BA because Yoshi P specifically told me.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I went to Japan and he said, "Oh, by the way, tell the group you were in, congratulations on world first." And that was it. That was the only acknowledgement, the only like thing we knew for sure that anyone had it. And I was like, "Oh, I remember seeing it in the Discord. Like, look, he said it. He said it. It's true. It's true now. It's true. We know for sure."
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing to track in the first place because it's just a big mash. I mean, it could be just EU versus NA versus JP.
It's honestly just nobody's going to lie about it.
Oh yeah.
It really just comes down to it's unliable. It's not like it like how it's 48 people.
Right.
Like you can't hide it. Like
right.
You just when you're done with it, you've won at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So it might be worth just giving credit to, but not like creating a whole thing for it, right? Okay.
The nod.
Yeah. Just quick nod.
This would be cool to see people progress.
Yeah.
Especially because it's going to have all the funky stuff. There's a mechanic I'm predicting because it's Fork Tower. So this whole thing's Final Fantasy V theme. And Fork Tower actually has a unique mechanic in Final Fantasy V.
Okay. So wait, how long do we expect it before someone finishes all the content then?
Probably Friday, I would expect the hardcore people would have a single Fork Tower clear by. Because BA is pretty easy comparatively to DRS. It's just figuring everything out. Like, we took 4 days leveling through Hydatos and getting our first BA clear. And what a lot of it came down to was seeing another group post footage of it, being like, okay, they made it that far. Let's see if we can figure out the next secret. And we just traded back and forth until the group successfully beat the last boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect this will go the same way, where like there's going to be something where people are like, what the hell? But I also don't think they can surprise people as much. I think people are going to be spamming perception. I think that the mechanics themselves are going to be... I think it'll be at the latest Friday, there will be one group that has cleared it.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll see how it goes. There's no showcase on this stream for it. Yeah. Not possible, unfortunately. But at least maybe I can get something going on the website or something there, just to some level of credit, but I don't know. All right, well, everyone's really excited for that. It feels like this game's actually in a pretty good state in general with battle content, especially with this coming up, unless this somehow flops horribly, then then that's a problem. And then Deep Dungeon comes in like the next patch, 7.3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Another Deep Dungeon. People are wondering if there's another Ultimate as well. I'm in Camp 7.5 Ultimate.
Kinda I am too. Which is, it sucks because I wish I just had more information about this stuff because I have to plan things around it. But yeah, I think I do think you're right. I can't see it happen in 7.3. I mean, when did they even announce like the next live letter and when they're going to be like giving more information about stuff?
We'll
No,
probably know about
but
then, like, what, the next month,
It'd
probably,
have
we'll
to
hear
be.
about the first one?
yeah, let me give you the live letter prediction date right now.
I thought it was the
'Cause
middle of
Just
this
gotta
month, so I
sometime
was wrong.
sometime in the
No,
next few
very
months
wrong.
too, like, we're getting stuff like we're gonna get, like, FanFest, like, we're
Yeah.
gonna start talking about 8.0 soon.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I expect the next live letter will probably mention FanFest, and if they don't, that will be really sad. So I don't know. It's
I'm giving them the second 7.31 at the latest. But yeah, I'm if we don't have a FanFest announcement by within the 7.3 live letters, I'll be a little concerned.
yeah, because
I think first FanFest is February. That's my guess.
I
probably
was thinking January. I was thinking January, February as
yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Q1 2026.
June 20th, according to my calendar, is when I have marked that weekend is a likely live letter weekend. It's usually like 5 weeks before the second live letter, and the second live letter is 10 days before patch. So if going for the 19-week patch cycle, you just work backwards.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean that makes sense to me, and if because they haven't even like teased the ultimate, they haven't done like anything for
They
it.
don't normally. They don't.
I mean, Dragon Song is
like
a
we don't
completely
know-
different
Yeah.
situation.
That's why I say they don't.
Yeah. But yeah, that I don't know. I feel like we would have had something like a mention, like an interview
We
or
did.
something. Okay, tell me.
They said we're working on the next one.
When? When did they say they were working
They
on
said
it?
that before Fru release. They said they were working on the next one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens because it's really important to me when they actually do it or not. And you know, what about Beastmaster?
That's late Dawn Trail, so that'd be 7.45 at the earliest.
yeah,
You think
know
so?
the Blue Mage the Blue Mage update will come before, and Blue Mage is probably next patch. Yeah, if I had to
Okay.
guess.
7. Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
also feel like outside of like the normal stuff that we would expect, like story, dungeon, trial, raid, and the deep dungeon, we don't know much of what's coming for like the rest of the expansion outside of stuff that was like Beastmaster. I don't know when it'll be, but it's probably 7475.
Criterion.
And Criterion, which I honestly keep forgetting about that they said that they were going to add one in Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of excited to be slightly unawares of these things.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a so my only criticism of Dawn Trail is actually a long-standing one that I've had that really just rears its head after 2.5 years of Endwalker, and that when they spend a year going through FanFest, then 90% of what they're talking about doesn't happen until a year after that expansion is out. It's not a good look for an expansion.
I mean, it's true. True. It doesn't you know, you're not wrong. I never really thought about that. But yeah, when they're like hyping up the expansion and everything, they should focus on what's going to be more immediate. You know?
Well, I'm of the opinion more of what they talk about should be closer to launch, not even that they should be focused. Because, like, I don't think it would be good if we take exactly what we had for Dawn Trail's FanFest and be like, well, then just don't mention Crescent Island, don't mention Cosmic Exploration, don't mention Beastmaster. It's like, yeah, I mean, in theory, you could hold off talking about those things, but all they've done is take away. I'd rather those things just be sooner in the expansion and not a year down the line.
Like the FanFest cover the first year basically of content, and then whenever they announce the next one, it's like, all right, here's the next year of content.
Yeah, it's better than sitting there waiting like, oh, they announced Beastmaster, I can't wait. And then every 2 months, the same 2 people come into my stream. Do we know anything about Beastmaster yet? No, they said late Dawn Trail.
It's gonna be what, a year and a half, 2 years since they announced Beastmaster, like coming up.
It's been 2 years
soon?
now, practically.
Yeah, and it's probably not gonna be out for within another year. So
Yeah.
it's like 3 years. It's like at that point, it feels like a announcement of a hey, we started production on this type of thing, and those announcements are kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when Marvel announces, "Hey, we started, production on Avengers Secret Wars in 2027, idiot." It's like
Yeah. But at least they
In
said
the year
2027,
2020.
it was great. Not just in that expansion. I don't know. But we'll see how that goes. I'm really looking forward to see how the rest of this year kind of pans out. And at least news-wise and content-wise, and trying to get hooked back in and pulled back in to do a lot of raiding content, because I do need to go in and do all the Savages, because that's a huge thing for me. And I do need to catch up on a couple different things I left alone. I never finished DSR.
That's true. I forgot you never finished DSR.
Nope. I got to the
Let's go.
second to last phase, right? The 2 dragons.
Let's go, Frosty. I'll get Kyo, you, me. Jets
You're looking
here.
for content?
2 dragons.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to get to the part where the old man takes 2 bad dragons.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so we're doing pretty good battle content wise, but it does feel a little dragged out. But it's going to hit us really hard soon, starting Tuesday, right? Yeah.
That's the hope.
Okay. All right. As long as we don't exhaust ourselves, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think a big thing is that we hit a really interesting period in the middle of Shadowbringers going through to Endwalker, where because of all the patch delays, everyone started checking off bucket list items that they had kind of been procrastinating on for a really long time. And their bucket list items are gone now. They did them. And they maybe don't keep up with them, or they have, like Triple Triad, for example. Some people they don't care about trying to get the platinum packs every 2 weeks to try to finish those last like 4 really rare ones, and they just wanted the mount, and they're maybe hoping another mount comes out, but they're not even going to bother working on the cards again until another mount comes out. I did ocean fishing during the Shadowbringers time, and I'm not going to go back to it unless there's another ocean fishing title. For the love of fucking God, do not put another one in there.
Don't look at me.
I wasn't blaming you. I was talking to Square, but also don't encourage them.
Yeah.
We're missing half of a Ruby
people.
route, so
yeah, that's true. We are like don't the Ruby troller.
We're kind of expecting at least the second half of a Ruby route in like 7.4, 7.5, maybe.
As long as there's no Ruby troller.
Well, I mean,
that's the thing.
So we've hit crafting gathering, we've hit battle content. The other core aspect of this game, which is the one that has the most negative criticism, is the story.
Oh.
Okay. And so when we talk about the state of the game with Final Fantasy XIV, which has been known for fantastic story, tell me how you guys are currently feeling with that in the game.
7.1 and 7.2 has been fine.
Has it?
It's been good, actually, I'd say.
You like it?
That's basically what I would probably say the same thing. Is 7.1 was better because I felt I enjoyed going through the 7.0 story, but I wouldn't necessarily say it is the best story that they've told. But I enjoyed it. They were like, we're gonna go, it's gonna be fun and wacky and wild. I'm like, okay, cool. And I kind of got a fun and wacky, wild time of experience. I had a friend describe it as a Saturday morning cartoon, and I'm like, yeah, that works. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
It was just kind of weird, and I'm okay with that. I enjoyed it. Was it the best story they've told? No, but I enjoyed it. But 7.1 and 7.2 have been fine, and they've been progressively getting better. I think 7.2 has been the best story that we've had so far.
So bringing back Spain wasn't like something that was like, hey, why'd you do that? We were done with that?
No, 7.0 set up the story in such a way that we already knew who the 7.3 villain was. We just didn't know how it was going to manifest. They made sure to constantly tease the preservation throughout 7.0's story, and so you kind of already saw the bigger bad happening. It's kind of like how in Heaven's Ward, when we beat Thornton and then Nidhogg flies away, you already know the big bad is like at least related to that in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that here, and I think how they've gotten to the preservation being involved is not like I saw that coming or anything in that vein. They've kind of like left breadcrumbs here and there, and it's been really well implemented as they've done it. The Sphene bring back has been exceptionally good, especially, I think.
Okay. Because I think that was the biggest criticism that I heard with the 7.1, at least, was that bringing that back after we thought that narrative was done, and then now we're kind of going at the key points again. I don't know. But I don't know. I think the story is fine. Going back to 7-0 story, the how it progressed and how it went and everything, I still stand pretty strong on my criticism with a lot of it. But I haven't minded 7-1 and 7-2. I felt like it was fine. It's just a little bit weird for me at first, but I'm just kind of going with it now. And I think the only thing I can criticize is, again, going back and feeling bored a lot, and then suddenly going from, like you said, a Saturday morning cartoon into a Black Mirror episode. It was kind of a weird transition going from that to there so suddenly, and it felt kind of jarring in a way.
I feel like they've kind of, one of my biggest criticisms about the 7-0 story was pacing and tone, like just not necessarily the tone, but just the shifts in tone. I think like the big one everyone cites is like this happy, uplifting music as we build a bomb, to like run a train into a wall. Like that was like, you know, maybe I get what you were going for with that, but that just felt weird in the context of everything. I feel like they've really smoothed that out a bit more though in 7-1 and 7-2 story, where it's been a bit more like, to what Happy was saying, like you can see the breadcrumbs coming. It's a whole lot smoother. Like you kind of tell what's kind of going on and what could be happening in the next patch, but you aren't 100% sure.
I can see that.
Yeah, it was I said it was okay. I honestly I would still take it over Stormblood.
I like Stormblood because of just one character. That's all I needed.
Do you like being stepped on? Is that what I'm about to find out?
No, this was... Of course you would go in that direction. If you're talking to a normal Final Fantasy XIV player, I guess that would be the right answer. No, I liked the names day coming all at once. Okay? That character was my favorite character.
Yeah, no, that's also a normal Final Fantasy XIV player response. So no, you haven't really you veered away from the horny side to the meme side, but you've still gone there.
Okay, I'm still here. Fair.
Just a different track.
Yeah.
If you had been like, oh, you know, I really enjoyed the kinship between Yugiri and Hien or something, I would have been like, oh, that's a different. No one really talks about that. I was like, no, I like memes.
I just liked that guy's voice act. Like, in the way his story ended it felt good. You felt in that moment. That was great. There were some really good key hitting moments in Stormblood, but it was moments. It wasn't like in a whole not great, but there were really good moments for it. So I would still say the story in this expansion is the lower piece compared to all the other content we have, but it's still surviving. It's still there, right?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird because we're also in the most fan servicey expansion, I feel like, thus far. And I know that's crazy after Endwalker.
Okay, yeah.
I know that's crazy after Endwalker, but like I'm looking at like Final Fantasy V content and the Final Fantasy IX MSQ and the Final Fantasy XI raid, and I'm like, anything else? You want to go back to Evilise while we're at it? Like,
yeah.
Guess where 8.0's going?
Marisidia.
Oh man. But okay, well, good. We've hit the story. We don't have, I mean, we could really dig into the story and the criticism for it, but I feel like it's been run down so much that I'm kind of... At least the criticism portion of it, you know. I do need to have some more story lore episodes coming up soon. So, not tired of that. Just the talking trash about I'm kind of done with and ready to move forward. You know, the other part, again, with life with Final Fantasy XIV, which is something that I didn't really expect to be something that was a huge deal, but it is the mobile game.
Yeah, let's go. I've got somebody helping me to make an account, so I might actually stream.
Oh, you might do the Chinese version? Okay.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I've got a lot to say about this.
Okay, go ahead. You know what? take the floor, man.
No, I mean, I've talked a lot in the recent ones. I want Fruity to talk first.
Yeah, no, so I've been actually following the mobile version. Maybe not as much as you, Happy, because I haven't been able to find where the sources are coming from, so I always get them like second, third hand, or like a week later. But I've been following the mobile game a bit because I think it makes sense in a way that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a mobile version of Final Fantasy XIV, but also you're like, why? Especially when
Well, we know why, so we don't have
You
to.
know why?
you know why, but it's like it's just kind of like, where is this going to fit in, and how are they planning to do stuff? And I think what we have seen, I haven't seen any of the recent stuff, so I don't know what's leak or not, but what we have seen in just videos that people have posted is like, it's like this really nicely polished version of Final Fantasy XIV if it was remade today, but then it's a mobile version with mobile systems in it.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out with like just what, with like kind of that reputation that Final Fantasy has, just like that, and that history. How well does that play in with not like gotcha mechanics, but basically like mobile monetization mechanics? How are they going to play together? How are they going to make that work? Because a lot of stuff you don't want to be locking people out of, because because that's what makes Final Fantasy Final Fantasy. You don't want to lock them out of raids. You don't want to make them like, you don't want to lock them out of story, but then that's also like a really easy grab for them to monetize off of. So it's like, how are they going to find peace with that?
Yeah.
There's a ton of quality of life stuff in that mobile game too that I'm like, that's actually kind of nice, and it would be cool to see it ported into the main game.
God, that was my favorite comment. I saw chat. One of my favorite comments when it was first happening was like, okay, but is there going to be a PC client?
I mean, technically, you can do PC client. You just have to get a emulated
No,
version
but
of
like
that,
they
right?
mean like Honkai. They mean like Genshin and Honkai. How they're like, yeah, where's the PC client of Final Fantasy
Steam,
XIV Mobile?
Steam
Oh
version
God,
of
no.
mobile.
We have a lot of information, public information that covers a lot of that stuff. Thankfully, so we've been able to form some pretty solid expectations. They actually had a live letter for
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
14 Mobile not long ago, and there was something in that live letter that somebody tagged me in the Balance Discord because I didn't notice it and nobody else talked about it. So for content in the mobile version, number one, we know the story is, you can play through the story. That's fine. We know that there's no stamina systems, there's no gotcha systems. None of that's monetized. What we do know is there's a freemium pass, and we know it's in the freemium pass. There's a Mog Station, pretty much works the same as ours: emotes, minions, mounts. There's even some
more.
And more. Yes, and more. And we know that you can unlock other features like, extra retainer space or EXP boosts and stuff to like speed up going through. Some things that recently came to light and have been discussed very heavily. You can actually purchase to skip wind currents, ether currents. If you want to obtain them normally, it's exactly the same as it is in the base game. But if you hate them that much, you can pay to skip because there's ether currents in A Realm Reborn now in mobile.
That's like an hour of work.
But yeah, when has that ever stopped anyone? Yeah. When has that ever stopped anyone? Yeah, like leveling is also not that long in the mobile version, but you can still buy an EXP
It costs
boost.
$5 for an hour's worth of time. Is an hour of your time worth more than $5?
Yeah. That's it. I mean, and then there's Fantasias and name changes. Like it's basically a bunch of Mog Station stuff done in excess on top of like inventory and market board. I think the freemium sub is the only way to get more market board spaces, for example. I think you get 12 more market board spaces for the monthly sub. I think it's like 5% mount speed, 12 more sell spots on the market board, 5% reduced tax when you purchase stuff off the market board, and 3,000 Krista up front, then another 3,000 over 30 days. And there's one more thing I'm forgetting that's in that list of like freemium sub, like optional sub
no,
things.
I know, and I know what it is, and I can't remember it either.
Yeah. There's one other thing. It's another like percentage based increase. It's like minus 5% tax.
EXP boost?
Yeah,
Did you
it
mention
is.
that?
It is an
Yeah,
EXP boost.
the
You're right.
base
Yeah,
EXP boost. That was it.
yeah, 5% EXP boost. Food.
Yeah.
It's basically a food buff plus 2%.
Free earring.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like that's the majority of the monetization and stuff, and like dyes and whatnot and all that. So it's honestly not that different from Retail 14 if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing
14 with more
people
steps.
were wondering about was content structure, because everything's instant still, you know, obviously they do that. And we know they reworked turn 1 significantly. It honestly is turn 1 of the Binding Coil as if it was done today, and it's very weird seeing it that way. Like it's Caduceus like having a downtime phase. Like I didn't expect. All it is he merges back in the middle, does a knockback, and then it's stack markers while dodging ground AoEs. Or something like that.
And there's a roll button too, right? So you're supposed to actively roll out of things, right?
Yeah, that's the theory. It seems like you can do it without rolling, but the roll makes it like you can like snappier do everything. But one thing that I didn't notice and that was pointed out to me, so you know how mobile games tend to do like here's the content and then here's the content like on this like weird like some weird named difficulty. It's not even like hard. It's got some other like ridiculous name for like the higher difficulty. They have that for the raids. There's a difficult turn 1. As there's normal turn 1, which is what they showed on the live letter, and then there's difficult.
Okay. Huh. And just out of curiosity, do we know how much of the core code of Final Fantasy XIV is in this mobile game, or was it all first build?
Yeah,
because
hopefully not.
This is a rumor. My guess is that it's a ground up, or it's built off of because I think it's Lightspeed. I think it is the company that's making it.
Yes.
They're the same people who did like PUBG Mobile, which was a very good version of PUBG. So like that's why I'm not immediately writing off 14 Mobile. I think like if you're gonna have any company make a mobile version of your game, Lightspeed is probably a good one to go with.
Yeah.
But my guess is that it's a ground up rebuild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the only way that they would have been able to make the current 14 code base work on a mobile device.
I mean, that's my
What's
assumption
interesting
too,
though is where some of the overlaps lie implies that at the very least they've seen 14's code past the surface level. A big example of that, and something that has probably been the biggest topic, is the 16 die channels that items have. So, yeah. Now, also, in terms of the dies, by the way, it seems like dies are you use it per piece, and then it's permanently unlocked the color for the piece, as opposed to you needing like 5 of the same die to do like, because then you need 16 die to like, in theory, at most, to fully dye something, but there's like a full option. So it looks like you use the die on a piece, and that piece permanently unlocks that color, which then when you consider that they sell dies on the MogStation, yeah, gets pretty nutty. But apparently Final Fantasy XIV's items are designed with 16 layers in the exact same manner, but we cannot dye them and modify them.
By normal means.
By normal.
My understanding. Yeah. So I have theories on this, and I think the biggest thing that my theory, and this is hugely a theory just based on my experience in game development, I've worked in games before, I've worked on multiplayer games and like dealt with engine level stuff as well. My theory is a lot of the limitations that we see in 14 PC version is less due to like console limitations. Like I don't think it's PS5 holding us back from having 16 die channels. It's not PS4. It's definitely not PS3 anymore. I actually think some of it is I feel like they have a very strict internet packet that they want to send, and they're trying to keep the size of that down. And for each die channel you add to an item, if you have 50 people in a zone and you have to load that all in, if you have 16 die channels on each person per item per thing, that's like 8 items per person, 9, 10 items per person, times 16 times 50 people. That's a lot of information that needs to be sent that we're losing out on latency. It's also why I don't think like Vieira don't have like beast feet too. Is like I've heard that like as a thing of like why we don't see like unique like foot customization, or why the character customizer isn't as big as it could be, is because they have a much stricter bandwidth limitation on those internet packets that are actually being sent. That's my theory, at least.
Makes sense to me.
And a very likely one, because every time they talk about adding a new feature, they literally say that they pretty much say that exact thing.
Why we had the stat crunch back in Endwalker. Like, it was because the numbers were just getting too big to send through the internet. Like, that was it.
Yeah, which they have said that they fixed, and we probably won't have another squish anytime soon, which means they are looking at that packet and trying to probably condense it more and more and more
and more and more. But that's also like, and I want to make this clear that this isn't a 14 unique issue. This isn't their code base that has caused this. This is like, how do you reduce packet sending size and latency, is something that like the entire game industry is just trying to solve at various levels.
It's funny because a lot of Korean games kind of just forewent that entire problem with the packet size, and they just did everything they wanted to do, and then it made their games, like for a handful of years, a lot of the games suffered tremendously, both on a consumer performance level, like the client side performance, and the network stability. It was really bad. It was like, yeah, fuck it, we need it to look as good as possible. And then you're playing it and you're like,
ooh,
why does it skip every so often like that?
Nah.
Why am I getting phantom clicks? Because you missed the packet that you're still waiting for that you sent like 30 milliseconds ago.
Yeah.
So I guess the question for mobile in general, it's not going to be accessible to the general audience. It's all in China at first on release.
At first,
right?
They have said that it will. So we know right now they are currently in closed beta 2. It will go into open beta in June, and it releases August 23rd in the Chinese app market.
23rd or 29th?
Might be the 29th. I remember 8/23 off the top of my head, but it could be the 29th.
It is at the end of August. That much I know that much.
Definitely at the end of August. Yeah. But I know a quick way to find out without actually knowing, because I'm not looking at the date. I'll just look at the. I think it is the 29th. Yeah, just looking at my calendar, it looks like it's 29th. Yeah, because 29th is a Friday, and the 23rd is a Saturday, which would be really fucking weird. Yeah, so probably 29th.
Okay.
And then we're supposed to get beta tests and global versions like sometime after that.
End of year, probably.
The trailer they initially released had Minfilia's voice in English, so they've clearly been working on it already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, that's... It feels like a lot of content to give me to do while adding into Final Fantasy XIV itself to go back and do A Realm Reborn, because, I mean, it sounds interesting enough to give it a try. Like, I want to play it. I want to experience it, right? I don't know if I want to enough to try to get a Chinese account and play it.
If I was offered one, I would probably give it a shot. But at this point, it would be like, I would, if we had like if they were like, hey, North American, European, like open beta testing or closed beta testing, yeah, I would sign up for that. I think I already did. Actually, now that I think about it, like I would do that, and I would make time to see what it's like. So far from what I've seen, it hasn't been as aggressive as it could have been in the mobilization of it, like in terms of the systems. I think it's so far been like, it's a mobile game, so I'm expecting some concessions on what it should and shouldn't do, but I haven't seen any that made me go like, oh, that's gonna be kind of weird. Like, to turn me off from it.
Okay. Well, let's do a world race for first mobile clear of Coil.
Well, it can't be world first, because China will have world first and everything.
Well, sure. I
Has to
won't
be
cover
global
China's
first.
side. Well, you know what's all right. So this has been kind of an interesting thing. You know how the patches in China are a little bit delayed, a little bit behind.
Yeah,
So
they're catching up.
you have the world race stuff happening on the global servers, and a lot of people from China do compete on that. Then there's a little world race for when the patch comes out in China, but they already know all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And so we're going to be kind of in the reverse scenario
We sure are.
where we're going to know all this stuff, and then the global clients, I'm guessing, are going to be a little bit behind. I don't know. Maybe they'll catch up and they'll put them side by side, but
Frosty, just
I'm-
think of this. Think of this, all right? I'm going to make a guide to the fights from the Chinese version. That will then last until we get it here.
yeah, I mean, it should work. That's a lot of work. Happy, that's a
A little
lot.
more work than I normally do.
It's just a whole nother game to be making guides for. Basically.
I can give you the Caduceus guide right now. It
Okay.
would take me 5 minutes to throw
it's
the
also-
Caduceus guide together.
It's also content for another game that's based on a game that came out like 11 years ago. It's not like it's necessarily new coils. I mean, there's some new stuff, but it's not like it's not going to be like you're starting from scratch.
I mean, that's
I mean,
true.
Caduceus has like 4 mechanics in the whole fight. He splits in 2, he has spreads and stacks. You have to not stand on the lights when they go off, feed him slimes to keep his health mark down, and then the knockback phase just get knocked back in light parties and then split right after. You're good.
So wait a minute, we're
if
going to be
any-
playing Final Fantasy XIV mobile, Final Fantasy XIV PC, and Final Fantasy XI. If we're keeping up with all the Final
I don't
Fantasy
count
MMOs,
playing Final Fantasy
Okay.
11. I don't count that. I will lose my mind before I ever play 11 seriously again.
I mean, it's still going. Their raids last like 10 months.
They just got Fantasia.
No, they have one fight that lasts 10 months, and then they release the next one, and then you don't even care if the previous one is cleared or not.
Yeah.
So I don't listen. I know everything I need to know about that 10-month fight. I don't. Nobody. The dev did not like his players when he made that game. When he made that fight.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Trying to break them, and no, we're stronger now.
The players just thought that they were being punked again. They're like, "Wow, I guess we haven't been punked since Absolute Virtue. I guess we're getting punked again." 10 months later.
So, do we consider right now we're considering the mobile game for Final Fantasy XIV as a good thing, right? Or a possibly good thing. There's no like
An interesting thing.
an interest.
It's an
Okay,
interesting thing.
sure, interesting. And so, in the state of the game in Final Fantasy XIV, it's a pretty big deal because it's basically re-releasing the game in some way. And this is WoW Classic, right? Basically, for Final Fantasy
WoW
XIV
Classic
players.
was largely still WoW, like in its
Well,
old
this is
form,
still-
but like
I assume.
no, it's not.
No?
It's
It's
dude,
like
it just-
14 remastered, maybe.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I would maybe give you 14 2.0 remastered.
Yeah, because Classic is still like if you did AQ40 20 years ago and you do AQ40 in WoW Classic, you're just doing AQ40. Like Season of Discovery is closer to how I would compare, like make the comparison.
Okay.
Like there's completely different skill. Like Warrior literally has like a 3-part chainsaw combo, and like there's just skills. Bard is a rhythm game for their job gauge. Like you have to time the press with the exact icon in your job gauge. Like it's completely different. The crafters and gatherers each have their own types of gauges in mobile. Like
Yeah.
one of them is like the Dragon Quest XI forging game if you've played Dragon Quest XI. And then another one is like something completely different.
The irony is, from what we have found, what I have seen so far with fishing in 14, it remains largely unchanged.
That's probably for the better.
It doesn't have a gauge. It just has less skills, but it has like, it's like you can be level 50 and it has like PC 14, like level 70 skills instead. Like that's it. It doesn't have a fancy gauge or anything. There's no fancy minigame. It's just fishing with less buttons.
Okay.
Well,
Largely
an
the
actual
crafters
built-in
that are
schedule.
different.
Well, this is
What?
the closest
Oh,
we'll
yeah, the
have.
built-in schedule is nice.
It has a built-in schedule for like every fish now, which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Okay. Well, it's
And
the
you can
closest
just
we'll
click
have
the button
to
and
it.
it alarms
okay?
them, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
no, it has
we're
built.
just him and I are just reiterating that we saw the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, I tore that. It's like I saw like 1 2 minute video of someone catching a big fish. I tore that to shreds. I have images of every skill. I have mapped out every level up and what skill you get at what time. It is basically just fishing with less buttons.
Okay. So I'm gonna be able to crack open like an iPad I had in the closet for like a couple of years and to be able to play this, right?
As long as your hands are big enough.
Maybe.
Because you got to remember, for the skills, there's like the auto attack. Because you don't auto attack, and they went back to 1.0. You have to tap the auto attack button.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Like, it's funny though, because like for Paladin, it means their gauge fucking skyrockets, but they have to use gauge on like all their skills now. Like every Paladin skill uses their gauge in 14 mobile,
Okay.
not just like 1 or 2 skills. But it's funny because you'll be at 5 and you'll be like 10, 50, 20, 25, 30, because you're just tapping the auto attack button.
Just bar
I mean, you could
breaks off.
Play it like this, right? On an iPad.
Honestly,
yeah?
you might be better off like Raptor stancing an iPad and playing it like that.
Okay. Okay. Because I don't play.
I'm sure there's ways.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard for me to.
I'll tell you the truth. What you do is you emulate it and you keybind buttons to the spots on the screen, and then you stop caring.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Then you could stream it easier, and it's all just 10 times easier, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Great mobile game.
To make it a PC.
Sitting at
game.
my PC. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, this is just a weird. I don't know. It's not something I thought I was going to be thinking about this year. A mobile game with Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know why. That wasn't the next step I was expecting. But it's weird that I'm not upset about it. I used to be upset about mobile games so much. You know, are we past that point of getting like upset every time a mobile game gets released?
Okay. So that depends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if Square's developing it, then you know it's getting shut down in 2 years. But Square's not developing this one. So
Okay.
that should be fine. Like, I'll be honest, Ever Crisis is only lasting until the third part of 7 Remake comes out. And then that shit's getting tossed into a dumpster fire. It's like, there's no way. There's no way it's not doing it. But I feel like most games have moved away from trying to be the like strong menu driven mobile game, and really only the big ones that have survived. Like Grand Blue, for example, is a major example of one that survived, and there's like some. But we're really more in the era of like something Honkai / Genshin-esque being the mobile game that everyone just plays on their PC. And like AFK games seem to be like the other major like
Idle
aspect
games,
of it.
yeah.
Idle games, yeah. Like Raid Shadow Legends kind of stands at the at the peak still as like the idea of what people think mobile games are, but they're really not that. And Raid kind of is just kind of its own thing now. And the only things that are like Raid are made by the same company, really.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I think games like Genshin. I think Genshin's probably like this big standout where it just kind of was like, oh, mobile games can actually be okay if done well. I think early on when people were complaining about mobile games, it was usually around monetization and like energy and dealing with all that. And I feel like a lot of the more popular mobile games now, like Genshin and Honkai, they've both figured out how to if they use it, they don't use it as much, and they know how to kind of get around it so that you want to play it more. So,
except Raid. Raid doesn't give a fuck.
No, they do not.
They do their own thing. So let's with all of this being said, this is the meat of the Final Fantasy XIV right now. I would say we hit most of the key points here. The only other thing that we haven't really talked about is just the community perception of everything and how the community has been reacting to it. Because we've said our opinions, but I know you guys hear a lot from other people who are not us. And what would you say like the standout opinions are in the community right now? Do most people kind of think like how you guys are mentioning the state of the game, or are they a little bit more pessimistic or more optimistic?
think it depends on where you look.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like if I look in the fish cord, people are fine, but that's also because fishers are having our own little party over in a corner, and we're having a great expansion for fishing stuff. But if you look at like I don't know, crap, I can't even think of anything right now. But like if you like look on the forums, it's not great. If you look on Reddit, it's like eh. And then other places, it really depends on where you look. I think is what you're going to find, and it's going to have different levels of like, wow, Dawn Trail sucks versus no, it's fine versus wow, it's great.
It's just a mixed
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think I'd say there's the concession around the fact that Occult Crescent has taken so long to come out. I think that's probably the one like most related and like line drawn between all of the feedbacks
Yeah.
of people who are like looking for combat content. Because if you're a raider, you've at least had a somewhat okay time between releases. You know, we got the little bonus Chaotic, but what if Chaotic had just been Occult Crescent instead?
Yeah.
You know?
We didn't even talk about Chaotic all that much, but I think to Happy's point, I think if you were to give a word to what I have seen, at least in general with the community, is tired, but not like tired I don't want to play, tired of just waiting. I think like
Yeah.
I think it really has it was very strange to have like this launch of an expansion and then 7.1 come out and it kind of be like on content. Not like the content wasn't because that was chaotic and that was fun. It was just not
And
a
ultimate.
lot, and it wasn't a lot. Oh, and an ultimate.
Yeah.
You know, not an ultimate raider, but but it was. I feel like it's just kind of like taken so long for a lot of the big bits of content to come out that it's people are just kind of like, I'm tired of waiting, guys. And I think I think that might be the core of what a lot of the frustration and comments are, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. They just need to get to releasing their big ticket items sooner. Like if Cold Crescent was out in 7.1, maybe we would have had 3 zones total in this expansion. There would have been a 0.3 and a 0.5 zone instead of just a 0.2 and a 0.5 zone. And, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And they could have flipped that
I
with
would even
ultimate, maybe. I don't know.
I would even go as far as to say you don't even need I feel like it is with knowing what cosmic exploration is now and not knowing what Occult Crescent is, but having a good idea of how big it could be. I feel like putting both of these on the same patch might actually not be great.
No, it was a
No.
terrible idea.
That was
Cosmic, at the very least, Cosmic should have been in 0.1. Like even if you weren't
Yeah.
going to do a Cold Crescent, a Cosmic should have been there.
I feel like Cosmic in 7.1 would have been great because that's when most people are going to be leveling up their crafters and gatherers anyways. Like if you wait till 7.2, a lot of I'm not going to say the average player because I will totally admit I hadn't leveled any of my crafters that much until Cosmic came out. I think having Cosmic in 7.1 and then maybe we don't get a new planet until 7.3 and that's fine. But then you give Cosmic time to breathe, and then you give Occult time to breathe, and you're not having people just say like, well, Cosmic's just going to take another 8 weeks to complete it on everything, but it's just going to be automatic now. So because everyone's going to go play Occult Crescent, and like then they're not engaging with both of it at the same time, and it's I'm with Happy. I think Cosmic should have come out in 7.1 or Occult in 7.1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something. It just can't take a year to get to all of your FanFest stuff.
Yeah. Guys, it's been a year. Well, 11 months. But
Since launch.
It's a year.
It's a year. It's a year. It's
If it feels like a year and it looks like a year, then it's a year.
Probably a decade. It's been a hell of a decade, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think like the only major thing that they had in 7.1 outside of Chaotic was also the Juno raid, which was one of the FanFest things, but it was like an alliance raid that you just end up doing weekly.
It was a new type of content. It wasn't like a new
it wasn't a new type. It wasn't like it's like it was expected. That was the thing, and so you're just kind of like, I can get to it and not feel like I'm missing out on anything. But
yeah, having that
Hey,
open
they
world
also had the
content
Christmas
earlier,
music in Juno.
Okay, yeah.
Get Christmas music.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, I know it's been a year since the expansion release, but this episode's only been going for about 2 hours now. We've actually like kind of zoomed through it. No, I mean, like it feels like it went a lot faster. It usually does. And so I appreciate this. This was really good. I think I'm getting a little bit more energy to get back into the game and do more stuff now. So thank you both for assisting me in that.
And the mobile version.
The mobile version is, man, I'm upset because I want to do it, but and the fact that time doesn't exist for me as much as it used to. And so it coming out is like one of those things. It's like, here's your FOMO bomb. Enjoy it. You're just going to enjoy the FOMO that comes with not being able to do it as much as you want to.
I have limited amount of time as well. Like time to me is just an illusion. I'm still finding a way to make it work. Like it's totally doable. But yeah, no, I feel you on that though.
It's like a whole other game to play, just another MMO to start up. In conjunction with Final Fantasy XIV, which I've already fallen behind with. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a long summer. That being said, this has been great. This has been a fun episode. Happy it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's good to talk to you again. I'm glad you're doing good. You're glowing. Fruity.
I believe that's called the sun.
Oh yeah, and you're right. Happy, you got it. that's what's out the window.
Oh, that's what that is.
Oh, geez.
Just don't stare at it.
Yeah. And Fruity, I'm sad that we haven't had you on an episode before. It's been a while. I had a lot of fun partying in Gateway with you, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Oh yeah, no, it's shaping up to be it's gonna be fun this year.
Yeah, it's like double probably than what it was. Not gonna be nearly as intimate.
Yeah, it's that lobby's gonna be packed.
Yeah, we're gonna get shut down by the hotel. Anyways, this has been fun doing it. I'm gonna likely have lots more MogTalks coming up. We're gonna have a lot more discussions coming because there's a lot of content coming out to discuss, and so it's gonna be a lot of fun. Kind of getting things moving again as I've been getting readjusted from full-time streamer to full-time not streamer. It's been different. I should do more talks about the transition between those two because it's been really interesting to kind of think about the compare and contrast of how things were between those two things. But anyways, guys, thank you again for coming on the show. Before we leave, I want to give you guys a chance to say whatever you want to say, about anything that we talked about, plus a chance to do shout outs and where people can find you and everything else. And Fruity, I'll let you go last because you haven't done these as much as Happy has. So Happy, you want to go first with that?
Well, I'm a terrible example though, because I always just be like, yeah, I'm Mr. Happy, and then I move on.
Yeah,
from my life.
You're inspired to be a good, example at this point. So do that.
No, I'm tired. I'm sleepy, man. I was up all night on a red eye 2 nights ago. My body still has not recovered from that. I got high blood pressure and shit. My life been weird.
That's fair.
I've been trying to separate cats I haven't too much today, but last night was a constant battle of sleep of hearing the cats go and Sophie having to get up all the time because the cats just would not let up. One cat's obsessed with Ivy, another cat hates her with all her guts, another cat can't emotionally process another cat existing, and the last one's just pretending that she doesn't exist.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah, Bacon literally learned how to open doors just to get to Ivy so that he could spend time with her.
Okay.
Like, the cats are wildin'. Like, that's what I've been thinking about. I put out a video today for like the first time in like 5 days, and I was like, that's about all I can do. Yeah.
That's way more impressive than what I'm doing. So,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate you taking the time to get on the show too. I know things are crazy and everything. But you know, and you're in your new place literally the day after.
Yeah. This is my new office. It's even got a prog bed.
Oh, nice.
I could just, in the middle of prog, I'd be like, all right, guys, we're waking up for prog in the morning.
Just go to sleep.
Sleep in the
I'm
glow.
gonna put a prison
wherever you
jumpsuit on.
AFK.
And I'm gonna put a prison jumpsuit on and not leave this room for prog.
That would be fair. Yeah.
Like food under the door.
Prog. Yeah, we can install a cat door on this door, and Sophie can just slide food in through.
Oh man. Well, you know, anyways, happy do your thing. What are you doing?
I did do it. That was the thing. Those are all the things I got going on right now.
Okay, where can people find you?
Mr. Happy 1227. Google it.
Mr. Happy 1227. Got it. Anywhere. You got it. They'll get everything. You have another State of the Realm coming up soon?
Yeah, probably next week. I wanted to do something this week, but just wasn't the time to do it.
No, yeah, it's fine. Thank you for doing this show instead. I appreciate it.
Easy choice. That's fine.
Okay. I'll tell Sly. All right, guys. If you want to follow Mr. Happy, if someone that's a mod, do a shout out for Mr. Happy here. You know where to find him. Fruity, can you do a better job?
Wait, before Fruity goes, I can show you my sock.
Which sock is this?
We got a new PC for this setup, and it came in a giant sock. And so it's just like now I just.
Oh, it's a PC sock.
It's a PC sock, and I can just hide in it like this.
Thank you for devolving the podcast so well, right?
You don't even need the prog bed anymore. You just throw that over. Throw that over your head. It's like a sleeping bag. You just sleep in your chair.
Yeah,
it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable.
I'm sure
it's
super
like
breathable. Yeah, super breathable. I'm sure too.
It is. I can actually read chat through it too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're just gonna that's how you're gonna stream now. It's just with backup.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a sock.
Okay.
Sock tuber.
Hey.
Hi, sausage.
Get it going, man.
Now Fruity can go.
Okay, Fruity. Anything you want to say? Shout outs and where people can find you.
I can't top that. No, I'm Fruity Snacks, and I make content on fishing. And you can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter, and definitely YouTube. I'm almost at 10K subs, or 10K subs. Yeah, that's what it is on YouTube. Yeah. That's my goal is to get that by the end of the year. Okay. And on Twitch at Fruity Snacks. I'm starting to stream more now. I'm moving up into Frosty's position of part-time streamer.
Oh, okay. Mine is less than part-time.
I guess I can say I have streamed more than Frosty in the past month.
There you go. That's nice. Fair. That's fair. They deleted all my videos, by the way. I didn't get most of them off in time. I need to get the World Race, the recent one, off. But yeah. I felt
Twitch because they have deadlines on that now.
Oh, it's done.
Oh, yeah, it already happened.
It's done.
Oh, okay.
It's over. So, you know, a lot of historical things. There are people who have saved it, so I can go to them and get it. But you know, most of it's gone. Sad days, man. But yeah, Fruity, it was amazing having you on again, dude. I will bring you on again. You know, and we'll have another discussion. You know, about other things. But I wanted to do this general thing to have a nice, just good overall conversation first, because it's what I've been thinking about quite a bit. And for everybody who's wondering about MogTalk and this stream in general, again, I have no set dates on the next MogTalk, but I do have plans to ramp that up a little bit more. We're probably going to see a lot of scene changes, because I'm going to start getting that itch to be creative and change a whole bunch of stuff up. So the layout's going to change. A lot of things are just going to change randomly with no notice, no anything. Just you're going to show up and things are going to be a little bit different. I don't know. That's what I do in my free time. I just want to change things. So enjoy
Everyone
that.
has a hobby, Frosty. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just a hobby. I don't depend on it for money at the moment. The only thing is it goes to pay for World Race stuff, but that's about it. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of this. I might do some actual just stream soon, but we'll see. Just follow the channel so you get a notification. Make sure you're paying attention to notifications. There you go. Then you'll know. Guys, that's it. Let's go ahead and say bye. Everybody say bye. Wave. Bye. You have to say bye, Fruity. You have to say it. Bye.
Bye.